Welcome everybody to our chess stream here today. I'm Will Paschall. This is my blitz and classical stream that I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday here on lichess, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We are going to be playing anything between 5+3 and 8+3 blitz or classical chess. If any of you guys want to challenge me, I'll probably take any kind of subscribers we have, like out of order, but mostly whoever challenges me first, we're going to be playing first come first serve. Feel free, anything between 5 minutes and 8 minutes with an increment between 3 and 5 seconds. Although I'd like the maximum time to be 8+3. That leads to games that can lead, into like even 20 minutes, in the 20 minutes range, which gets pretty long. We usually stream 2.5 hours between 4 and 6:30 p.m. So that's what we're shooting for. I'm logged on to lichess. My handle there is Sparkle Horse, and yeah, we're just on now. I've got my Quang Liam Super Grandmaster Vietnamese Tao here. Every 2700 player needs a hand Tao at the board. It took me a long time to pick up on it, but it's like a security blanket. If you get in time pressure, you got your towel. Anyway, if you got sweaty hands, it's also very handy. You can use it to avoid getting like carpal tunnel syndrome and other good stuff by just making a little mat for your elbows at the table. Many uses. I should start marketing this, but seriously, now we're gonna get started. Troll on a roll, Brundle Phil. What's up, guys? Thank you to you who subscribed. We're encouraging people to subscribe to my Twitch stream. Slaggy is my handle on Twitch. Yeah, you see me troll. Troll is our biggest fan. So we've got challenges here. 6 challenges. Bob Sakiyama, Miss Sparkles. Miss Sparkles, it's been a while. I think we played a couple times. Miss Sparkles, she's good. Troll on a roll. Chess 960, I welcome one other challenger. If anybody else wants to play Chess 960, we've got some volume issues, so I know that it's been an issue the last couple of streams. I'm still not sure what the problem is. I'm going to try to talk as loud as I can, keep the mic as close as possible. Wubba Lubba Dub Dub from Madurorsag, if I'm not mistaken. Arco, vien, and Stop Mirin Bra. Another bra. So, Bob Sakiyama, otherwise known as Brundle Phil, he's a subscriber, and he happened to be first in line. Let's get started. 8+3, guys. I'm not playing any tournaments at the moment. My last tournament was like 3.5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Yeah, that would be a month. It's been about a month for me. Okay, troll and roll. You can strangle your opponent with a towel. The strangest thing an opponent ever tried to do to me, speaking of Asian chess players, I mentioned Quang Liam, who always brought the towel. The strangest thing anyone ever tried to do to me was Nathaniel Situru, the Indonesian IM. After losing a very long and drawn-out battle, he tried to make some kind of Chinese star out of his score sheet and fling it at me like a kind of, missile weapon. It was very strange, It wasn't just like throwing the score sheet. It seemed like he was trying to actually turn it into some kind of weapon and throw it at me horizontally. Monkey Pushing Wood, what's up? So if your score sheet is just the right kind of paper, maybe you can turn it into some kind of Chinese star. Anyway, I think just certain Asian players really know how to handle that. Bob Sakiyama is playing Bishop C4. That's a move actually we see from time to time, but I never really fully understood how this bishop really works on that square. I mean, I could play D5 and gain a tempo. I'll play a kind of classical D4, D5 setup against the London with an extra tempo, and I think that's fully just fine. Let's give it a try. It's not my usual approach. I usually like to play with the fluid pawn structure, but since he's going to go out of his way to hand me a tempo here, we're going to go. What's up? Troll on a roll. Uh-oh. Troll on a roll. The troll on the roll. The troll on the roll. Troll in the Roll, how did you change your color? Or are you two different people? Troll in the Roll has a purple and a red. And it's not a clone. Looks like it's really him. He changed his color. He must have logged on and logged off again. Alright, how can we efficiently take this pawn back? I'm kind of liking the knight a6 type maneuver here. But we could consider other options. Knight a6 looks efficient. We're going to try to regain the pawn on our terms. Bob can play some interesting moves here. He's got to be a little bit careful about the long diagonal. And he played an interesting move, actually, knight to c3, which I hadn't even considered. It looks like it could be trouble for me. I wanted to play e6, but then he has the Zoltan Ridley-like bishop d6, and that's an issue. So maybe it's time for bishop e6, as strange as that move is. It seems appropriate here. We're going to be like Magnus Carlsen or something. Trying to play like Magnus in the Grunfeld. I'm a million different people. He has different colors. He's figured out how to change the color. I guess that's a very simple thing. I'm just way behind the times. I hate when my color is that odd green color that you can't read. Drinking, it's extremely humid here. That's why I've got the wife beater on and the towel, and I'm sweating. Extremely humid here in the Northeast USA, but what was I going to say? I don't know, I forgot. I'm getting old. 39 years old. Forever now. It gets boring being 39 continuously, but you know, at least you avoid aging. Anyway, I forgot what I was thinking 1 second ago. I was talking about Magnus Carlsen, talking about bishop e6, talking about how hot it is. Oh, I was going to say I'm drinking hot coffee, and that isn't really a great idea, probably, when the temperature is so hot here. Need some iced coffee. I kind of like the way that Bob has played this. Bob's Furniture. Here in New England, there's a small furniture chain called Bob's Furniture. And it's on the TV all the time, these commercials about Bobopedic. Just watching baseball on TV, you see these commercials. Bob is gone after my d-pawn, so I have to take his bishop out. And I don't know, at the end of the day, I know that I'm okay in this position, but I'm not sure I'm really better. Sons of the guns out. Sons out, guns out. You can cut your opponent's throat with a piece of paper sheet. I think that's what Nathaniel Situru, Indian Indonesian international master, was trying to do to me. It's like accidental murder by score sheet. C takes B, Bob. Why necessarily taking back that way? Wondered why Bob took back that way. He felt like his pawn would be a target potentially down the C file, like a Sicilian or something. You know what, Bob? I hate my bishop on E6. I really do. It's a very passive piece. I suppose it has some long-term potential, but right about now I don't know. I don't really have a plan here, I have to admit. I don't have a great open file. I can play like rook c8, but what does it do? You know, it's a what does it do kind of thing. I was thinking bishop g4 to keep it simple, or maybe queen a5 followed by bishop g4. At the end of the day, though, my queen on a5, actually my queen doesn't really have a comfortable place to go. Queen b6. Queen b6 could even be an option. But I don't know. Queen b6, you can hit it with like knight a5. That's okay. We can play a check. Queen b6. Bishop g4, I was thinking. I'm not thrilled with this. I thought this was going to be an easy game after the first 7 moves, but I'm not really sure. Bishop g4 trading my bad bishop off. This looks kind of like safe, but somewhat lame. I have a better pawn structure. That's about it here. That's our only advantage. If I trade the bishop pair off, I'm not sure this is a great plan, but Bob did not call the question. And since Bob did not call the question, is he threatening e4 here? Is Bob threatening e4? Is that even a good move, Bob? Can you help me figure this out? Knight h5 is looking kind of interesting suddenly. Now that hangs the d5 pawn. Alright, e6, e4. Queen a5. Queen b6, queen a5. Okay, I don't know. This is by process of elimination. Is this a chess stream? Not sure how I got here. Even though I don't know anything about this game. This is a chess stream. Chess is, yeah, it's technically a game. I know it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to stream chess on what is like a gaming platform site, but it is a game, right? So it counts. Poker is a game too. I watch a lot of poker streamers. So I guess traditional games count. A3, Bob, I like that move. My queen has like virtually no squares to go to after a3. I'm not really happy about this. Bob, I don't want to put my queen on a6, you know. Not what I was really planning on. So we have some technical problems. How about e6 for a square? Queen b6. I'm just flailing around here without a clear plan. Bob has 5 minutes to 3, so we're a little bit short of time. Blue Crow, welcome. All right. Whoring out already. These e-ubs, man. Yeah, I don't know. The Twitch subscription. E-ubs. Bishop takes f3. We're just busting on Blue Crow for his typo. This looks like a pawn donation. Queen takes b3, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, and we're taking a second pawn. 2 for the price of 1. If I play e6, he plays b4, and do I have anything? And this way, I'm a little bit nervous. Actually, here, he doesn't have a lot of issues either, except he's lost a pawn. But I'm afraid it could get too simplified out. Maybe this is, speaking of out, it could be, you said hoard out. Knight takes d5. It could be simplified out to the point where there's nothing left on the board. I do have a queenside majority when I take this pawn on b2. And I'm hoping that that could be enough to win the game. The Mama Duck is in the house. And subscribe with Twitch Prime. And ZooDDs actually subscribe with Twitch Prime. You guys are awesome. I love Twitch Prime. Queen takes d5. Queen takes b2. It's a 2-for-1 sale. At the end of the day, we're going to be 1 pawn ahead. And this, I think he might have had better there. Maybe taking with the rook. I was a little concerned about taking with the rook and then putting the rook on the 7th, where it's like scanning both directions and like maybe picking up pawns both ways. This rook b1's his best move. We've got to snap this pawn here. And so we have 1 pawn more. It's a really important pawn though. It's probably worth a lot, actually. We got rook behind passed pawn, and we've got bishop on the long diagonal promoting. We're going to try to score a touchdown here. I'm basically willing to sacrifice probably this pawn on e7. I don't really give a damn, frankly, about that pawn if necessary. We're just going to try to get this down the board. Lazzo, no, Leitao. It's almost like Leitao. I tried so hard to pronounce Leitao, the name of Brazilian Grandmaster Rafael Leitao, but I failed even after like 17 attempts. Oh man, do we have something here? Rook d8, weakening f7. I like this towel. It's like, it's a security blanket. It's something I can grab onto when I'm nervous. I feel like I'm gonna start using the towel at the board in tournament chess. All right, bishop takes e5. I said I would give up the pawn if necessary. That's what we're gonna do. Thank you guys for subscribing. We've got 2 Twitch Prime. We've got 2 Twitch Prime subscribers. Plucro, it's Blitz Classical. Thank you for being here, our moderator, Plucro. Confirm what? Confirm what? Simul only on Sundays. Thank you. Yes, if that's what you're asking me to confirm, I confirm. Pawns must be pushed. Past pawns must be pushed. As I said, I'm willing to sacrifice this guy. The e7 pawn, there's no time to save that. Good defense, man. I had a hallucination here. I don't think I can afford to play like queen d6 because he's going to trade rooks and win my a pawn. I have to go here and stay active, try to get my a pawn down the board. But Bob is playing really well this game. He's close to holding on. You're asking to confirm the time for the simul. Sundays, 5 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I usually stream from Budapest, Hungary most of the year. I'm based over there, although I am an American. I've been living over there for years. So I have a different stream time for most of the year, but in July and August, I'm here in the US, and so we're doing Eastern time. Usually it's European time, but we're doing USA Eastern time streams, 4 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 p.m. simuls on Sunday. Simul is when I play a bunch of players simultaneously. In this case, usually 25 players. Last week was a debacle. I was really struggling. Sometimes I get really low on time playing all these games at the same time. Yeah, I look like I'm going to the gym or something. But the humidity here is just gotten out of control the last couple days. I can't wear like a normal attire, type of attire. Too hot. So a3. I'll do push-ups. Bobapedic. Bobapedic is putting up some resistance here, but he's got some issues because my rook is well placed behind that pawn. My queen is pretty active. It doesn't look like a really easy position to defend. I don't know about his last move, actually, snapping this pawn. I don't think that's the priority here. But I don't have a really good suggestion for him either. You know? Maybe... it's a tough one. Trying to trade queens? With like queen d4? Would that have been anything? I don't know. But taking the pawn, I don't think the material is that important here. You know, the key is this pawn, so it doesn't matter to me if I have 4 pawns or 3 pawns on the other side of the board. All that matters is the pawn gets down. It's looking like my queen and my rook are very well placed here, and it's hard for him to defend. When the time goes to 0, man, you're done. But you do get 3 seconds extra every move. The time limit is 8 + 3. This is kind of a modern invention, you know. I mean, in the old days, when I was a little child, years ago, we had clocks, analog clocks, without, you know, digital readouts, of course. And so that was it. That was fun. You know, I like the old days when you could just run out of time and there was no more time. Once you run out of time, that's it. Nowadays, it's this modern system where you get like a few extra seconds every move, called an increment, and I don't know. Sometimes I kind of miss the old days. Queen takes queen, queen takes queen. I'm thinking like rook b8. Now he's got to improve his rook. Rook d4, rook b2, or just a2 actually. Rook d1, and then rook on the 7th. And then we can actually double. This looks like white is toast here. We'll get the rook down on the 7th, and then we'll double rooks on the 7th. He'll be able to blockade. He'll have to come back, put his rook on like the back rank, have 2 rooks passively placed in the back rank. And we'll just crank the pawn down to the 7th rank, put a rook on b2, and then we'll swing the other rook back over to the side. And I think he's going to be he's going to be in a lot of trouble. We might have to actually go through a really long maneuver, actually bringing our king all the way over here. Once we get him tied down, we're going to get him tied down to a totally passive situation, and then we're going to bring the king in if necessary as an extra piece. There may have been, I'm sure there were better ways to do this. I think he could have taken the e7 pawn with his queen, followed up with rook a7. You know, that was an interesting suggestion. He played rook takes. I'm running out of time. Wait a second here. Okay, a2. And I've got to be careful. But, you know, when he played rook takes e7, he could have considered taking with the queen here in this position. And on a3, the suggestion is to play rook a7. I think you got an interesting point there. I like queen takes e7 better. Yeah, I think that's a good point. That might be a really good try to save the game. I think now Bob may be toast. This pawn is an outside pass pawn. It's really powerful. So I can't win directly. This was my plan. Now we get down there, put the rook down there, and then we're going to bring this other one over sideways and get like 2 rooks on the 7th with a pass pawn, and I think that's probably not the only way. Maybe I can actually just win by, maybe I can play like rook b8 first and then think about different ways of doing this. Rook b8. Rook b8. I'm going to go this way. This looks a lot cleaner. There's no way he's surviving this. Pigs on the 7th. Past the pigs. Yeah, we're just going to clean out all these pawns. That's it, man. It's just fatal. If he doesn't get mated, he's like losing all of his pawns. We're threatening mate. So, that's it, guys. Okay, interesting, instructive finish. The Mama Duck, thank you for subscribing again with your awesome Twitch premium. He hates that. I could be wrong, but I think I remember him usually getting pretty annoyed when someone did that in a simul. What's that? With simul's, isn't there a thing you can click that lets the opponent give you time? Mama Duck, you're right. I hate when people give me more time. I hate it when they give me more time. Actually, you can't do it in the simul, I don't think. I hate it when they do that in the blitz games, like now. Alright, Miss Sparkles is up. Miss Sparkles is on the other line of the DMZ, apparently. But I take that with a grain of salt. I don't remember my games with Miss Sparkles now. It's been too long ago. I'm going to play e4. I saw a really nice game today. Actually, that black one. You know, e4, e5. Well, we'll talk about that later. Miss Sparkles with the Caro-Kann defense. Okay, so I think theoretically the best move here is probably like knight c3 or knight d2 or e5, but I'm comfortable with this. I've always been comfortable with this exchange and c4, this Panov attack, because I'm actually not really an e4 or king pawn player by nature. I'm more of like a queen pawn d4 guy. So Miss Sparkle's playing Nimzo. This is a transposition to a number of. I mean, this could be a Nimzo. This could be. I've got to stop playing with this towel. It's just too addictive. It could be a Nimzo. It could be. What am I thinking here? Queen c2. No, I'm supposed to take first and then decide what to do. Braden Borneval used to play e takes d. He's another poker and chess player. Knight takes is the standard move. So, Queen c2. Blimey, North Carolina. Blimey. Well, she was from South Korea before. Was South Korea before and now moved to North Korea. It's a good choice. Better internet up there. Better connection. Clash Kid, thank you for subscribing. Real Elden Music. I love you guys for subscribing. Okay, Miss Sparkles took on c3. It's not a horrible move, but I think that it gives me kind of like a slightly improved kind of Nimzo Indian. It looks like an inferior line, playable for black, but a little bit passive. I have the classic structure, hanging pawns. If black had like one extra move, I kind of like their position. But I feel like they lost the tempo. Capturing and then like forcing their own bishop to have to retreat voluntarily. Now I have pressure on h7. So I actually played this line for black. I played this position for both colors, and I never really played very well with black, but knight takes c3 is not necessary. You know, I think the main line is like knight c6 or castles. Anyway, it's not fatal. Bishop f6. Wow, bishop f6, like sacrificing the pawn on h7 is pretty extreme. I mean, do we go for it? Should we go for it, guys? Sacrifice a piece? Sacrifice. We sacrifice a piece. This is entertainment, anyway. We're going to sacrifice a piece for 3 pawns and an open king, you know, so there are many factors in chess. Mobilization, development, material is the one that's most evident, you know, and most people identify with. But material is just one factor. Miss Sparkles allows this very funky piece sacrifice, and I'm not that excited about the material situation here. It's just like their king is open, and it doesn't have a lot of cover, so I think that's gonna be a serious problem. This is an interesting move, king d7. It may well be better than king e7, the more natural move, king e7, because I'd have check from the bishop and other good stuff like that. There's no way to finish black off here, you know, real fast. This is gonna be complicated. Rook g8 feels like a sort of threat. I could play bishop g5. That's a really interesting idea. But I don't want to trade queens, probably. Not so easy, huh? Castles. Alright, I'm going to castle. I don't see anything dramatically wrong with it. I need to finish my development. White's probably better here, but it's really a very sharp position. I don't think Miss Sparkles is necessarily dead in the water. She does have an extra piece. I'd really like to have that white squared bishop right now that I sacrificed. Bishop a3 is possible too. I like king d7. I think it was the best move. Miss Sparkles, I don't remember our games really. That was a while back. I mean, it was months ago when I played with Miss Sparkles. I really forgot. She got checkmated once. The last one lost a rook, but drew the first game. That's really gone back in time. I don't know, that position, I'm not sure which color I was there. Yeah, knight c6, okay. We have this d5 move that could open up the position against Miss Sparkles' king. And she's got knight e7 as a defensive move. Black doesn't really have any threats. That's a good thing. d5 is a pawn sacrifice. It's really sharp. Takes. Queen f5 check. That doesn't do anything. Maybe I should just play like rook d1. Looks a little primitive. Looks a little bit primitive. A little bit obvious too what I'm trying to achieve here. It's kind of hard for the black king to find a safe haven, because king f4, king c7, Freudian slip, bishop f4 check is pretty nasty. While her king is somewhat safe on its current square, it doesn't really have a good place to go. Doesn't feel weird calling him miss. Trolling a rule. I'd like to imagine there are some female viewers on our stream. I know that it probably, you know, you're not interested in that, but okay, Rook D1. What is your response to those who say that you're the one of the weakest IMs? Turkey bag. Turkey bag. What is my response? I don't know. I don't get told that very often. I don't have a ready-made response for that. Queen E7. Knight E5 check. Bishop takes, pawn takes is interesting. Let's see. I know a lot of weak IMs, Turkey bag, who are like 2150 or like, you know, a lot of IMs who like maybe barely ever got over 2400. So I don't know, dude. I was like 2470 at one point. Queen E7. I don't think that's qualifying as a weak IM. Queen E7 D5 here. Is that king gonna get away? If you go to Hungary, or actually any country, you find a lot of very weak IMs who are rated between like 2180 and like 2280. I mean, this is very typical. I mean, I think if you want to talk about weak IMs, there are some out there, but I don't think I would qualify. Knight takes E5. Knight takes E5. This is an interesting move. It looks like we can just take, but then we're all over H2 is a problem. We're having problems with H2 there. I really like Knight E5. That looks like a great move. Hitting my queen. I mean, I don't have a lot of options here. Queen E4. Maybe Queen E4 is just a sort of sensible, centralizing move that rhymes a lot. We could also take and play F4. That looks a little bit... I don't know. Brundlephil says, I made a good post on Reddit a little while ago recommending this stream. I don't think we've had too much discussion on Reddit. I mean, maybe once before someone made a post on Reddit about the stream, but it's not too many at the moment. Okay, so what's going on here? D6. Things is getting kind of sharp. But I feel like this pawn, Miss Sparkles, is pretty tough. I don't know. This position is kind of unclear. Wubba says, I think Turkey bag is Miss Sparkles wants to break me psychologically. I don't think so. I have other suspicions. So now Queen G7, D7 check takes, Queen takes. Do we have a material win anywhere? D7, Bishop takes, Queen takes B7. That's not really decisive. D7 takes, Rook takes, almost works. You know, I'm really thinking about Bishop F4. You can never get checkmated with the Bishop on F4 in this kind of position. That's what I'm thinking. D7 almost worked. Wow, look at this move. Bishop D7 played, taking all the fun out of the position. All right. It's getting kind of scary now. I'm getting a little concerned that I might be just worse here. Miss Sparkles played Rook D8. I was concerned about Rook C8. I'm going to defend my king side with the Bishop on G3. And we'll give the C3 pawn. I'm not too worried about that. And that'll actually give me time to open up my other rook. Turkey bag, not trolling. Some guys were talking about this. He's not trolling, dude. Some guys were talking about this. Yeah, dude. They were talking about it in the chess club in Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm a common. The weakness of my strength compared to other IMs is it's a common conversation piece, all over the internet. Come on, dude. I'm just trying to like provoke something. Queen takes A7. Would you also ask an 80-year-old GM why his rating is so low? It makes no sense. I agree, dude. Just people like to provoke. But I didn't play chess for like 6 years, and still my rating is like pretty close to the requirement for getting an IM title. So I think that's pretty decent, you know. Bishop takes C3, Rook C1. I mean, I'm actually disappointed that my rating's not higher. So it does kind of strike a chord. I'd like to be like 2465 or something like that, back to my peak, you know. So that would be nice. But Miss Sparkles is really fast, and I'm actually offering a pawn sacrifice here. I just picked a random place. First thing that popped in my head was Saskatchewan, Canada. Brian Nikolov. The cowboy IM. He's probably dead by now. Rook E1. Known for falling asleep drunk during games against Gadakamsky. Bishop takes D6. That's a tactic. That works. I did see it. But here maybe we have something. Very active pieces. Actually, I don't mind losing that pawn. I mean, it kind of opens up my pieces. Who gets to play after this game? I haven't decided yet. It's pretty tough here, this struggle. All my concentration is 90% on the game. If we have some subscribers, they'll probably go first. Unidentified sources say, which way should we take back? Actually, I'm kind of liking this way. Yeah, this pawn formation is actually a really good shelter. And the other way, I'll probably get mated down the H-file. Queen has I have no problems on this diagonal here. So I think the F pawn takes is definitely best. What's the difference between IM and GM? In practice, it's about 100 rating points. I mean, there are more requirements than that, but the average IM is probably rated about my rating, about 2375, and the average GM is probably rated about 2475. There are people GMs. I mean, but GMs actually the expanse is much bigger. I mean, GMs go all the way up to like 2800. And go all the way down to like 24, you know. So there's a very large expanse of ratings for grandmasters, probably between 24 and 2800. Even lower ones who are like, as Clash Kid said, like 80-year-old grandmasters are rated like 22, 2300. But you know, would you criticize them? Let's see. What am I doing here? I don't know, guys. Rook takes D7. Just want a tactic, but I don't have any. I don't know. Just keeping everything protected. Objectively, black is probably okay here, but I think that white's position is a little easier to play with the 4 pawns against bishop and pawn. But Miss Sparkles, has been impressive. Oh no, h3. This is probably a good idea. This gives me the pawn shelter I was talking about. The ability to play g4. Actually, I don't have to play g4 even. Maybe a4 at some point. Hide the king on h2. This is the ultimate hiding place. Well, I wanted to push the a pawn, but black would have just like... Oh, I didn't see queen a3 check. I could have pushed the a pawn actually, in fact. I was looking at queen a7, last move with the rook on d8. Now, I gotta believe that we're winning here. At this point, king d8 is forced, and then we play like rook c8 with double threats. I mean rook c1. Another Freudian slip. Rook c1. There's queen c7 and there's queen c8. I don't see how black can defend against those threats. So Miss Sparkles probably was okay right up till the end when she got herself kind of tangled up. But I'll give myself credit for self-credit. Made in 2. Give myself credit for keeping winning chances alive. That's about all I can give myself credit for in this game. Because I was tempted to like trade rooks at one point, which probably would have led to a drawn endgame. If we look at the engine, we can let it run like real quick here. I mean, I think that she was okay right before the end, probably like 5 moves before the end here. Oh, man, come on. So let's go back here to this position where she moved the rook from d8. Right about here, see? The engine says it's like 0.1, so it's like truly equal at this point. Black has to defend precisely. But again, I think like kind of a difficult and rather thankless position for black. Theoretically, black is equal, but in practice, it's like a lot harder to play black in this position than white. So that's the story with that. All right, guys, we've got a policy here to kind of take the subscribers first, but I don't see any challenges from subscribers right at the moment. So I'm going to take the troll and the roll. If one of our subscriber to the Twitch stream challenges us, we'll give them preference. How do I re-wing the stream? Rewind? You know, you can actually watch the videos after and rewind the stream there, but like during the course of the stream, I don't know if you can do that or not. Doesn't queen c5 check win the bishop? Did queen c5 check win the bishop? Queen a3 on move followed by rook f1 move 30 was possible. I was missing queen a3 at one point because someone mentioned a4. Why is a4 not possible? And I would have played a4 probably if I remembered I had queen a3 check. So d4, it's chess 960, guys. If someone else wants to play a chess 960 game, that's cool. I'm willing to play like 2 per stream. 2.5 hour stream. We usually have about 10 games, so 2 chess 960 games is fine by me. Alright, we're going to play Hyper Modern here with g6. Cranky Panda, that's already been answered. Slideshow Bob TV. Last time I was in Saskatchewan, it was -40. There was this legendary IM named Brian Nikolov, and he was a really good player, but he had a little problem with drinking. And this one time, he came down to Philadelphia, and he's from Saskatchewan, I think. He's probably dead. I think so. Anyway, he had this game with Kamsky where he fell asleep drunk during the game, and there was a huge debate between like Kamsky and his father and the tournament director whether they were allowed to wake him up or not. I remember that. That's the only thing I know like chess related about Saskatchewan, but I didn't mean to discriminate against Saskatchewan. It was just a really random place that I selected. Monkey pushing wood. Alright. You guys have any questions outside of just the games, you know, general chess questions? Feel free to answer. This looks like we're playing a kind of King's Indian. So it's kind of normal chess to me. Bishop, fianchetto, King's Indian, bishop on g1, bishop on g8, h1, h8. Yeah. My knight needs to get out. And then we're going to castle the vulture. Vulture knight. Why is everyone you know probably dead? I think you're exaggerating a little bit, Wubba Dubba. The thing is, I know a lot of people, dead and alive. So now, alright, bishop h6. If everybody I knew was dead, I'd be probably twice as old as I really am, but alright. I just, you know, I like remembering the people who died. No need to mention the ones that are still alive, right? This move, man. Bishop h6 troll. Where did that come from? So what's the best way to handle the situation? I can play rook e8, but I'm going to run into problems with f7 eventually. I think we're going to have to play rook g8. And if I play rook g8 or rook e8, it's awkward either way. I can play bishop g7 if I have to, but white is slightly better now. That's actually interesting. Is there something like a forbidden doping list in high-level chess tournaments? No. Not as far as I know, although a lot of individual tournament sites might not allow you to drink. If you play a tournament in an American hotel at an open tournament, you know, it's like in a conference center in a hotel. You know, normally these places serve alcohol inside their banquet rooms. There's no rule against drinking. I used to drink all the time. Not all the time, but sometimes. And there's no rule against it. On the pier in Hastings, in German competitions, team competitions, usually people drink beer. But in other places, like the Hungarian Chess Federation, you know, the tournament directors are like, no, you cannot drink alcohol in the halls of the Hungarian Chess Federation. So there's no rule against it. It's just that, you know, certain places have their own rules. Bishop g7, I love this awkward position here. I mean, doping, you know, in chess is, I think, a kind of ridiculous concept. They have some kind of doping regulations, but there is no such thing really as doping. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to, like, not let people drink coffee because it's a stimulant or something? What about Adderall? Adderall. Yeah, it's like if you're... I mean, you would have to, like, ban a lot of, like, prescription drugs and stuff like that. No, there's no such thing as... No real list of banned substances in chess. Although, I think the World Chess Federation has addressed this kind of stuff because they were trying to get recognized by the Olympics. And I don't know if that's still even going on, but... I think in the process of trying to get Olympic recognition, the World Chess Federation probably adopted some kind of, you know, doping regulations, but what that is, I really don't have a clue. Durkee Bag asked, do I still think I will ever get to GM? I don't know. It's, I'm kind of, I think I'm actually, for me, it depends on how much time. I need a lot of time, and probably time is money, you know, so. If I win the lottery, the answer is probably yes. If I have some financial freedom in the future, I could play a lot. I think it would be very highly likely. If I'm unable to play in the next 10 years very much, probably not. You know, so it really depends on how much I'm able to play in the next like 5 to 7 years. That would be my answer. I think I can do it, but I think I need time to play a lot of tournaments, which I started doing. Knight g8, guys. This is a really abstract move. I want to get this knight off of e5. I want to keep his queen out of h6, and f6 is the way to do it here. Abstract position, white slightly better. I messed up, you know, overlooking bishop h6. So now I have to like coordinate pretty much everything. My king and is not going to castle kingside. This is kind of a problem, but it's not the end of the world. Perhaps I can play like b6, bishop b7, or b6, bishop a6, get my queen out with something like c6, and queen c7 and castle kingside, queenside. What do you call castling in chess 960 anyway? This makes me crazy. You're out of there. The knight is out of there. He's got a good retreat square back to d3. What about Adderall? Yeah, we answered that already. Daniela said, I'm not buff, man, but, you know, I try to at least not get, like, grossly overweight. I'm actually the lowest weight I've been in a very long time. Like, a very long time, probably. I think I'm at my lowest weight in 15 years, more than 15 years. Knight to d3 now. I wanted to play b6. And I was never extremely fat, but I've been, you know, at the lowest weight I've been in probably 17 years right now. I still feel black makes me fat, you know. That's why I should have worn my white wife beater t-shirt today. I feel like black makes me fat. You're watching the stream from Castilla-La Mancha in Spain. Mule Skinner, awesome, man. Mule Skinner is one of our favorite opponents. He challenged me the other day, actually yesterday, but I was busy doing a lesson. Oftentimes, if you guys see me on lichess when I'm not streaming, there's a good chance I'm doing like a private lesson or working on some video or something. So if you challenge me and I decline, please don't take it personally. I'm probably just doing some work, and that's the case in most cases. On vacation, Mano La Mancha. Mule Skinner has contributed to the stream with so many games. We have like 100 games. He's a great opponent. We have some interesting opponents. Clash Kid's here today. I don't know if he's challenging me. I really like to play Clash Kid because he plays a really creative, interesting game. I don't think he's challenging today. Alright, so we're trying to get out of this. I was talking about castling queenside though, and I'm having second thoughts. The position is turning into like a King Zidi and Fianchetto variation, where, you know, it would be much more normal for white to castle kingside and black to castle kingside in this kind of pawn structure. So my king doesn't feel very safe, and I don't really know what to do per se. Bishop e4 looks interesting. Seems crazy at first glance. My knight has a retreat square back here to f7. I'm thinking about queen b7. How to develop my pieces without creating any more pawn weaknesses in my position. I'm thinking of manually walking my king over to like f8, where it might actually be safer than anywhere else, kind of castling by hand. The initial position is not too weak. That's what a friend of mine used to say. He read that in some chess book. Maybe next time. Oh, Clash Kid. I didn't challenge because I didn't have so much time today. That's okay, man. I just I enjoy the games with you because you really you create like chaos on the board, and it's just a lot of fun to play against players like that. Alright, c5. That looks kind of risky, actually. Maybe I shouldn't go there with c5. My knight on g8 is just extremely bad. I think maybe f5. Although I'm going to weaken my dark squares if I do that. Let's hold off a minute here and play a neutral move with king e8. I don't feel safe castling queenside here. I'm not allowed to castle kingside, and I was thinking dark squares. Perhaps I could do something crazy like rook f7 and knight e8 and king g7. Troll is trading pieces. How about queen here? Queen b7. He's better here. There's just no argument at the moment. Castling queenside just asks for trouble in this position. I think I can put my king on the king's side if I'm going to put it anywhere. But right now, it looks like he's threatening already some very nasty stuff. Like c5 right away was starting to look horrible for me. And I think I just have problems here. E4, white's clearly better. I can't move my e pawn forward. My king is like stuck. I can't play d6. Maybe c5. c5. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. c5. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Knight e6 resigns. That's a really bad idea. I have 2 minutes. Let's think about this. Knight e5. Knight e5. Knight takes pawn. Knight takes knight. Pawn takes. Kick him out, and then I'm still clearly worse. Knight e5. I can't castle. I don't like this position at all. Maybe g5. Nope, that's not good either. We have no safe haven for the king at all. Knight d8. This is awful for black. No space. Running out of ideas, but I have 2 minutes to think about it. Maybe I should have castled queenside, but I just saw c5 coming and went the other way. g5, knight f5, that's a problem. h5 maybe. h5, g5. It looks awful for black. Knight e5. I should have played maybe f5 when I had the chance here. Troll is going to lose on time. He's good like that. Big advantage for white. I would say plus 1.3. Let's see. Wow, it's like massive. It's much bigger. Plus 2.1. It's so huge. It might go down a little bit. Obviously, knight e5 wasn't a good move. It was plus 1.3 before I played knight e5. e5 like didn't occur to me. I thought that loses a pawn. Yeah, I'm in terrible trouble here. Troll played, he played great. And loses on time in essentially like a winning position. Knight e5, knight takes e5. Why is this so winning? Takes, knight f3, d6, and then knight g5. I mean, I didn't see that this is so winning for white, but the knight on e6 is devastating. It's pretty devastating. Knight on the 6th. This is strategically a winning position for white. I'm not losing any material, but I had no way to get rid of that knight. You know, he's going to break it open with f4. I'm just dead. Good game, Troll. Good game. Fine game. Alright, Arcovian, Monkey Pushing Wood. We have anybody who's a subscriber who's challenging me at this point? Meowsy, who's like 2400. He's 1500 question mark. They have to stop doing that for provisional ratings. Guys, please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. Also, check out my videos on YouTube. Video chess training on YouTube. Alright. Arcovian is next. Blue Crow, if you want to challenge, you're welcome to challenge. Arcovian, we played the other day. Oh yeah, we were black. He played very tough in the opening stage. We're going to revert to our safe English opening. My towel is imbalanced. I may be a weak I am, but I am one of the cooler ones that you'll know. Soltigo will be nice once the volume issue is resolved. We had some really hot days, but now it's better, around 35 Celsius. Wow, that's it. It's really, really humid here. It's not that hot where I'm at, but there's just so much water in the air. All right, mainline symmetrical English. Oh no, lost on time. But Troll and Roll, you played great. That's all that counts, man. It's not whether you win or lose. Clash Kid, I don't think you play solid, man. I don't agree. That's not how I would define you, man. I mean, you create chaos. Every game I play with you is like extremely complicated every time. Usually there's some really strange ups and downs, and you refuse to trade material. Usually avoid exchanges, I've noticed. Queen b6 from Arcovian. This is actually a pretty rare move. I have the feeling I looked at this pretty recently. Some people move the knight, but e3 looks like a very sensible move for white here. The volume thing. Yeah, remind me to speak up. I still suspect it's some kind of Windows issue. I have no idea how to figure out what the problem is. Okay, Arcovian. Much more common is Queen a5. That's a kind of trendy line now. But Arcovian played Queen b6. Where did I see this recently? Is a good question. Somewhere in my travels at the last tournament I played, the GM tournament I played in a month ago, I was definitely looking at this position for some reason. With someone, I concretely analyzed Queen b6. And this looks like a good move too, a6. Alright. He's playing very logically. Okay, Armenia. Armenians have a good foundation for... Usually, Armenian players have a really strategic foundation to their game. The historic, you know, great player, Tigran Petrosian, is like still an idol in Armenia. And he had a very positional style. I mean, I'm sure that the average chess player from Armenia is much more well trained than most homeschooled people. You're just enjoying the stream for now, Plu Crow. Guys, please subscribe. Please share videos of my YouTube channel to try to encourage some people to like and subscribe to the YouTube. Video chess training on YouTube. Can always use more subscribers over there. Big question here for Arcovian. I mean, I don't know where he's going to put his queen if it gets attacked, but another very standard way to play this position is like rook fc8, when the queen can retreat back to like d8 if attacked. Here he went with rook ac8, and I think that's also okay. The problem with rook ac8 is like this rook doesn't really have an active role. I think it's actually better to put the rooks ideally in this kind of formation on b8 and c8, because I do play a lot of games in this type of structure with black. Here he's kind of stuck with rook c8 and probably rook e8, and on e8 the rook is just kind of a passively placed piece. But nevertheless, I don't have anything special here with white. I think maybe I should... I know where I saw this now. I think I might know where I saw this now. I saw a game where white actually retreated this knight back to e2. But that's a little bit passive. I'm wondering if I should try it though, like knight e2, knight f4. You could maneuver knight e2, knight f4, knight d5 with a very powerfully placed piece. You'd also have a situation where you have more space and you avoid exchanges. So I think that's a positive too. On the negative side, I am allowing him maybe some break with b5 a little more easily. But after this move, you know what? I don't think he's getting that b5 because he doesn't have a rook on b8 to support it. Not so easy to play b5 with queen on b6, no rook b8. I kind of like this knight maneuver. You don't like rook c8 either. Soul Tigo. Good to see you, my friend. A lot of our regular viewers here. Usually my stream is European time. Knight e5. I like this move. He's flirting with tactics like h3, bishop takes h3, bishop takes h3, knight f3 check. I have to be careful about that. But anyway, there's no need for h3 here. Or is there? Knight to f4 was the plan. Tactics, anyone? Knight f4 was the plan. If I played f4, it would weaken my position drastically. I mean, h3 is a normal move to stop the invasion of g4. But the problem is, if I play h3, bishop takes h3. I need an intermezzo there. I almost have one, actually. h3, bishop takes h3, knight a4, hitting his queen. The queen has to go somewhere. Where, like, where's he going to go? c7. And then I can play bishop takes e5. And it gets super complicated. Bishop takes g2. Bishop takes f6. Alright, we'll just stick with the plan here. But I don't know. The other game I played with Arcovian was a long time ago, and I don't recall it at all. Funny that Arcovian played in our American time stream, but he's probably not available in the morning, because usually I'm streaming European time morning, and he's probably working or something. So this time actually benefits some of the European viewers as well, who can't watch my streams in the morning over there. Here, I don't really know if I have a choice. I mean, he wants to trade pieces, and he's going to achieve that to some degree. But, oh, now he decided to go back. Okay. So he's b5, like a freeing move. He's achieved some exchanges. However, I have f4 here, and I think it's a good move. Slightly weakening my position, but we're going to trade this valuable dark squared bishop off, and he'll have a little bit of issues with his king safety, maybe long term. Not like major deal, but I think this is a situation where f4 is essential. Maybe he could trade bishop takes d5. Bishop takes d5. I take d5, and he plays knight c6 with a slightly worse position. Perhaps we can grind him down in an ending where we've got like bishop versus knight or something like that. Slightly better. b5 is a really key idea for black here, and I'd like to eliminate that possibility. I don't think I can eliminate it completely though. a4. a4, a5. That's a problem. I don't want to let him play a4, a5. So we got to hold off on that. Holding off on a4. Welcome to my stream, guys. We got a tense positional battle here with Arcovian from Armenia. Alright, let him play b5. If he plays b5, we'll have maybe some tricks. Rook c1, the natural move. Which rook? Rook a c1. Also possible is rook f c1, but it looks a little strange to play rook f c1 after I've already played f4. This rook has some action on the f file, maybe. Can you make arrows to show your skills with a proper mouse? Yeah. I still can't make arrows. You know, I bought a new mouse. I was holding off because my other mouse functions, but I think when the mouse buttons started to get a little bit freaky, so we've got a new mouse. It looks good though. I mean, the arrows are just all over the place. We can even make colors. Colored arrows. Red and green, Christmas colors. We got challenges from Monkey Morley. I don't think I've ever... Morley is 2464. Oh my god. It's a new account with less than 50 games. I don't like to play new accounts with less than 50 games. It tend to be people who are like trolling me and stuff. This is an interesting situation. You know, his bishop is actually trapped in some lines if I were to play e4. But he's weakened his d6 pawn. It's usually kind of standard procedure in any kind of hedgehog, though. I like this. The way Black's played this looks totally valid. He has one weakness, but it's manageable. So, what do we got? What do we got? We got grammatical incorrectness. We got Black maybe trying to play b5. We've got a slightly weakened king of our own. But we have a little bit of space. I mean, I think that's the defining feature of this position. Our space advantage thanks to this pawn on c4 and f4. Both kings a little bit open. I would prefer white if I have to choose a side here. I think we're a tiny bit more active. But it looks awfully solid for Black, to be honest with you. A little too solid for Black for my liking. Queen d4 centralizado. Is that a Spanish word? Queen d4. Is this even a good move? Or is this just a cheap shot? Feels like a cheap shot. Queen e7 played quickly. But he had other moves there. Now knight e4. And he's getting kind of tied down to f6. And I've got the rook on f1. Create tactical threats of g4 maybe. Not sure it's good though. g4 e5. See, he's got g4 e5. You've heard of e4 e5? This is g4 e5. Okay, queen b2. Can I retreat my queen not to get hit with tempos? Hit with tempos. It hurts when you get hit with tempos. g4 e5. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. See, that's a problem. If I play this move first, we can sidestep. I don't know, guys. This guy is so solid. I don't know if I'm going to be able to take him out. I have to be careful about my own position. I mean, I'm looking at the queen coming over like to b7, and watch out, you know. He played d5. Well, that's a completely logical move, isn't it? Forcing my hand. I guess it's just equal. I mean, I don't have anything here. I've got to be careful not to be worse. My bat senses, spider senses, or whatever, are tingling. We have to be careful not to be worse. But now, we almost have something. Rook c7 drops the whole game. I guess we don't have a choice. We got to take this. Might as well take with the queen to be on the safe side. And the rook endgame. Okay, now rook on the 7th looks really tempting. Wow, this is so close. Okay. Normally against an Armenian player, endgame is not what I'm really going for. They usually have good technique, but that's kind of a generalization, obviously. If there were any country I was thinking players would have good endgame technique, Russia, Armenia. d4 was a key idea, but I think I could play e4 there. You guys don't get to see the behind the scenes variation. I think d4, e4, d3, rook d1 might be like winning for white, or just better for white. So he played rook b8. But unfortunately his move is really kind of passive. Levan Aronian is like my favorite player in the world, and he's obviously from Armenia, and he's a fantastic endgame player, just like Petrosian was. Now Arcovian, I think we've got him pretty squeezed here. G4, space advantage. Rook on the 7th. And then maneuver the king back around up here. He's basically like frozen. How is he going to get out of this? Okay, I have an idea for him, but it's still not easy. A5. What do I do now? Start maneuvering the king? H6 is what I expected. What do I do now? H4. Probably. And actually, oh no, this could get pretty complicated. If he does H5, what do I do? Take, take, and king D3. We both have weak pawns. Take, take. If I play... Okay, this move... Actually, I have rook check. That looks really, really strong for white. I don't think he's improved his position that much. The rook check may have been a good move. Perhaps I made an error there, but I think I'm still clearly close to winning here. He's not able to free himself. Rubinstein, guys. If you want to study rook endgames, Akiba Rubinstein, the Polish nearly world champion. Probably one of the greatest. This looks like an endgame he would win for sure. He's a fantastic trash talker. He's a good guy, man. He's probably one of the cooler people you'll ever meet at the Super GM level. King D3. Rook B6, good try, but I still think I'm just basically gonna win here. Can this rook B6 save him? I even have King C5, which looks crushing. Crushing threat of King C5 in this position. So H5 G5 or H5 take take. I'm threatening rook C5 at the moment, which is decisive. Rook C5 or King C5 actually. Look, I think the problem here for black was the inability to be able to use his rook actively. Now this is his hope, like King E7, King takes pawn when he gets a little bit of activity, but there's no reason to give him any activity. I mean, it's probably best to just win the pawn with a rook. Give him 0-0 counterplay. If I play King takes Rook D8, there's a little bit of counterplay. This way, I just get the pawn. He doesn't get his rook to an open file. It seems like a better way to win the pawn. So you've got to be thoughtful and not get too excited, you know, when you're winning material. Like, what's the best way to do this? Probably not the only way, but limit the counterplay, guys. F5. Take, take, take. Or G5. I'm kind of liking G5 now. The pawn chain is like impenetrable. He's never going to win the base of my pawn chain here. It's so solidly protected. The G6 pawn has a weakness. It looks lost. You know, he could play finally Rook H8 or something, but this is lost. All right, man, tough game. Drifted into the bad rook endgame. I don't know. I think the black was okay though. Right before the endgame. I've got challenges from a whole bunch of players here. Monkey Pushing Wood is next. If we don't have anybody who wants to play, we don't have anybody who wants to play who's a subscriber, I'm gonna just take the next guy in line here. Monkey Pushing Wood. I don't know. I'm in the mood to play E4 today. Guys, I have streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday playing Blitz and Classical at the same time, 4 p.m. We'll be next up on Friday. On Sundays, I do a simul in the summer, July and August. Actually, all year round, but usually at a different time. July and August, I'm doing my simuls here. Let's try something different. Knight C3. I played a Panov earlier today, but I'd like to branch out a little bit. Simul 5 p.m. on Sunday. 25 players. If I get the subscriber bonus, I might play. But I want to wait like 2 hours for the game. Yeah, Clash Kid. I mean, I would take your challenge immediately if you want to play. You are a subscriber, so if you want to challenge me, we can play the next game. We haven't played any subscribers today. Okay, knight f6. This is a very rare move. I don't think I have a choice. I mean, only e5 is good here. I was talking to one of my students about the Alekhines defense with knight g8, you know, the so-called Manhattan variation, like e4, knight f6, e5, knight g8. And it's funny how the computer engine actually evaluates that as just as good as knight d5. I'm probably thinking that this is actually the best move for black in this position as well. It's most likely. Because knight e4 leaves a weak pawn in e4, and knight d7 leaves him with like a bad French defense where he's a tempo down. It's probably best to bring the knight back to g8. As far as setups go here for white, I'm not sure. We have different options. I think with f4, I'm possibly getting into a Gurgenidze Caro-Kann where he's a tempo down, but I have a lot of white square weaknesses. We can try different kind of setups. Bishop d3. I'm going to play bishop d3. We've got knight e2 sometimes, or knight f3 depending on the situation. Mule Skinner, you are a subscriber. Okay, I don't understand the subscriber bonus thing. I think he just meant, yeah. Subscriber, you have to subscribe on Twitch using the subscribe button. You might not be logged on to Twitch, Mule Skinner. Maybe you're just watching through lichess and you're not actually a member on Twitch. That's the question. Yeah, you're only a follower. I will play the subscribers first. Why would you ever play this variation of d takes e on move 3? Yeah, you want to like make life difficult for yourself. I mean, if you want to play a strange move on move 3, I think that b5 is the move to play, you know. That is actually a variation. It's not a great one, but kind of fun, you know. Knight f6. Knight f6 is just like, yeah. But then again, why would you play e4, e5, knight f6? I mean, e4, knight f6, e5, knight g8 at all. Maybe white will misplay, you know. I mean, it's a hyper-modern idea. It's pretty much, for me, it's no different than playing e4, knight f6. What's the difference, you know? I think now we're just going to go with the fully Steinitz type of... we go fully Steinitz style. I mean, you can do a Spielman. Actually, Spielman's sacrifice looks strong here. It's probably like winning, no? Oh man, this is... It's not winning, but it's just good for white, I guess. I almost missed it because I'm not that used to playing this kind of position. I don't play the advanced variation against the Caro-Kann normally, so I'm not looking for e6 type of sacrifices, but this is just very strong for white. It doesn't win directly, but strategically I think it's nearly winning. Like, white's positional advantage is so large after this move that black really shouldn't be able to survive. Kind of like my game against Troll in a Roll. He was 2 pawns better strategically, you know, if he hadn't lost on time. I mean, that's a strategically won position. Looks like something Magnus played. But, I mean, I think that some strong players, including Magnus, looked at the engine. They realized e4, knight f6, e5. Hey, wait a minute. Stockfish, or whatever engine you're using, says that knight g8 is just as good as knight d5. If you play the Alekhines defense, your knight on d5 gets chased around all over the place, you know? And is that necessarily good? So maybe knight g8 is in reality just as good an answer to that. And I was talking to my friend, Grandmaster Zoltán Varga, a few months ago, who's my teammate in the Hungarian Team League, and Zoldy and I had a discussion about this. He's an Alekhines defense expert. He's a former 2600, and black's just getting mated. So, queen sacrifice. Classical theory says you should always mate with the smallest form of material. Clash Kid is going to play. He's our lone subscriber challenger, and I want to play c4 against him today. I want to keep it kind of positional. I said that he was a crazy player. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I said exactly, but all the games were very sharp usually against him. You like the quote about capturing pawns, that you waste like 2 moves, one to capture the pawn and one to reposition your piece. I never heard that before. That's very interesting. I like this line. This is called the Floor Mykonos variation. Salo Floor is one of my favorite. He's deceased, but he's like one of my favorite players. The main line here is e5. An interesting move is f4, which I played 30 years ago, before it was fashionable. I just want you guys to know that, you know. This has actually been played in some recent games. And my best friend used to make fun of me for this move. And there was this guy there was a Czech master in the 50s. What was his name? Alster. He played in the Czech Championship like in the 50s. Alster played f4. And we always called it the Alster variation. He's like an obscure Czech master from the 50s. I mean, but that's an interesting line. We're going to play main line against Clash Kid, though. You can also just play knight f3. And this is a position that's actually played with colors reversed as well. Your stockfish shocked you today. Didn't want to capture at c1 in the Benko. Clash Kid playing knight e7. I've never faced this move before. I don't play this variation very often with white. The normal continuations are knight c6 and d6. There's a very famous line that Kasparov played with white against Karpov. d4, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. I'm sorry, knight c6, d4, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, knight takes e5. This is an extremely interesting pawn sacrifice line. Check it out from the 90s, maybe late 80s, I don't remember. Kasparov, Karpov, and there's a lot of theory on that variation. But this is like one of my favorite openings in my early career. Knight e4 looked good after knight e7. I don't think so. I mean, are you sure? Looks like I'm moving the same piece twice. Maybe. Maybe knight e4 is a good move. A totally different style of play than what I'm accustomed to here. So now, d5 is possible. That looks like I'm overextending. Playable, but a bit overextending. See, Clash Kid again, he's like created a very, very complicated game. You know, he's gonna say, it wasn't me, you know. He said he's a solid player, but I don't necessarily agree with that assessment. Now I'm being like kind of a maniac with h4, but I have a thing about knights on g6. I don't really trust them. h5. What about h5? It's an interesting idea. D takes c, pawn takes pawn. There's an awesome variation like h5, d takes c, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes b2, rook takes h7. Yeah, that looks a little over the top, but could be fun. Damn. h5, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, a knight, pawn takes b2, rook takes h7. Rook takes h7, pawn takes b2, b takes a queen, rook takes rook, creating like a position where I've got two pieces. No, I've only got what? A rook for a queen. Now knight e4 maybe. Makes sense. But now if knight e4 he has queen c6. I mean knight c6. Sorry, I'm a little confused. Queen takes d4. I made a mistake? Can it be? Probably. h4 maybe doesn't work. What about h4? Pawn takes knight, pawn takes knight, pawn takes b2, bishop takes b2, just recapturing. It's worth a try. He's got a check. I play like king e2 or knight d2. Knight e4. Knight e4 is also interesting. But then knight c6, knight d6 check, and maybe he can just move his king or something. I could also sack a pawn with knight takes d4, but then h4 looks really like a big waste of time. My original plan was to play queen takes d4, knight c6, queen e4. But then I started to panic because I thought black has queen c7. H5, knight takes e5. I really should have some compensation there. But how do I continue? Doesn't seem to work. Freaking out. I love this towel. I can hide behind it. Man, there really should be something here. Knight b5. Again, h5. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes b2. Yeah, why don't I just attack him like a maniac? What am I talking about? h5. I think I'm just misevaluating this. I have to go h5. I guess I could just take the pawn on f7 and play an unclear position. I don't know. If nothing else. Worst case scenario, I can retreat my knight to d2 to block the check. I'm not in love with this though. What about the crazy variations? Pawn takes c3, pawn takes knight, pawn takes b2. He has other moves there too. He might have bishop b4 check or something insane. He played knight takes e5. Wild. You see, he says he's not. He's a solid player. Come on now. Solid players. Don't get into positions like this. All right. Queen f3. Queen f3, f6. Obviously. Bishop g5. That's the stupidest move ever. What if I just recapture? Just too much hassle. If I have to sacrifice a pawn, that's fine. That's par for the course here. Queen a5, f4. Queen takes c3 check. I mean, that's fine. Queen c7. Queen e2. He's got 5 minutes to my 1 minute because I tanked on that move. Such a solid structure for black, but not a lot of development. I don't have a lot of tactics though. Knight d3. Okay, we have space. We're down a pawn. We're not down a pawn. We're down a pawn. Who cares about pawns? H5, what does he do? He just takes it? I'm here to develop my pieces. Looking for tactics. I don't have much in that department at the moment. We're going to need to strike very quickly. His structure, he's playing ultra solid now. H6, King F2. Where should I put my king, by the way? Castle, maybe. Just drop a pawn with check. That's a good idea. Alright, we're very, very low on time. I don't like this queen coming to c5. Looks like black is structurally better. He's up a pawn. But I do have some space and some sacrificial possibilities in the air. I wonder if he's going to castle queenside. Alright, not a lot of time, so let's speed it up. He's going to try to castle queenside, I guess. H6, knight g5. What are we going to do here? And I hate my position. And he plays like h6. Bishop g6. Anybody? I just didn't see anything with h6 all along. He'll just like take it, and then I don't have any follow-up. He castled queenside. Now it's like a free-for-all. Go. I don't know. I mean, at least he's committed himself, and now we have some idea of something to do. You know, a4, a5, and try to throw everything at his king. In the center, it was harder to define how to attack him. I feel like at least here we have an idea. You know, I don't care about this pawn anymore. My structure's all gone. I mean, I just am going to play for mate, ultimately. Because strategically I'm lost. I mean, I just have to kill this guy tactically in this position. And finally, you know, it's like zombie apocalypse. And the only way to kill the opponent is by like just chopping their head off. You know, that's basically what's going on here. I'm facing a zombie apocalypse. We can't play an endgame, you know, for a pawn up or something. We have to try to kill him directly. So that's a nice knight. You wouldn't want to trade it for anything, would you? Man, this is an awful structural game for me. We're hoping to get him in time pressure. He's always black. What are you guys talking about? What book by Nikolai Peterson? Bishop e7 castles. Wait, let's just chop away. Start chopping, and I think we're going to castle here. I could also play king f2, but I honestly don't mind, you know, having the rook recapture f3. So much for the kingside attack, but we have a really nice knight transfer. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, I'm worse because I'm down a pawn, but other than that, I feel like, whoa, what just happened? He just went to completely not-so mode with g5. Maybe I should have taken with the knight. I didn't have time to really think about it. I was so surprised. Berserk mode. I can't afford to. Wow. I can't afford to. Wow. I'm playing like Levon. Maybe I really should have taken with a knight on g5. Would that have been much better? Seriously. Still not that simple because he plays like rook g8 with his awful threats against my g2 pawn. I'm going to have to be very careful here. What an amazing, like, concept. He sacrifices everything to open lines against my king. I might have to return the favor with some sort of return sacrifice. Took all the fun out of the game for me there. I wanted to get my knight to b5 for a long time. We have other subsequent? That's not the word I wanted. We have alternate threats. I have no idea what's going on here. Rook takes, queen takes, bishop takes, king takes, knight takes. Kind of messy position. Okay, there's the queen move. We need to defend. Look at this guy. Do I have rook a7? Where is he coming up with this stuff? Look at his play. He's amazing. All right. What an amazing game. And he says that he's a solid player. Multiple pawn sacrifices. Opposite side castling. And that guy needs to go. Did I miss something like bishop f5? Duh. Yes. We did have bishop f5. That was a better move. Clash Kid has officially blundered. Somewhat superior to bishop takes c5. I've gotten lucky here. I mean, I'm 99% sure I was basically toast and behind on the clock, but we managed to stay alive. What am I doing? Yeah. All right. This is still kind of weird. Now it's not weird anymore. Clash Kid, wow, you were totally all over me there. Unbelievably, the engine says that I'm okay here. I thought I was dead. Wow. All right. I thought I was dead. I'm such a pessimist. This is a fantastic position. I thought I was dead, and I'm not dead. I actually missed a shot that I was like winning there. He went totally insane with g5. I mean, the best move according to the engine is g6. Okay, I mean, g5 is really interesting, man. It may be a little over the top. Good game. All right, now, what do we got here? Any other subscribers that are challenging us? I don't think we have any other subscriber challenges. Just our friends here. Morley Suma, who's got a new account. He's got 43 games. Is it casual? Okay. I'll let Morley go. He's 24 something. That's very strong. Weird name. Morley Suma. This guy is apparently a very strong player. He plays b4. So he's not a standard opening player. But there are some very good players who play b4. I'm going to go with... I'm in the book. Yuri Lapshin wrote, he played queen c1. It's not really a good move, the queen c1. I like b3 better than b4. There's this gambit, but it's much better with b3. I don't see how like this really works right with b4. Jabava does it with the pawn on b3. Okay, I mean, I think that's pretty reasonable, you know. But with pawn on b4, I don't see how this is. I don't think this is right, you know. The pawn on b4 looks just totally wrong. So, anyway, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I mean, taking on f3 gives him some initiative. e3 is even interesting. I don't know, guys, what I'm supposed to play here. I mean, e3 giving a pawn back. Taking the pawn. Trying to take the pawn looks kind of dangerous. He could be, you know, he could be anybody. I really don't know. Pawn takes pawn, knight takes, or pawn takes pawn. Feels like I'm giving him the initiative. But if I play like knight f6, just develop a piece. He takes back, I take with a knight. g4, bishop g6, g5. That looks kind of awkward, honestly. e3, slightly better for white too. I wonder what the best move is here. I don't know, guys. This is kind of a weird position. Very irrational. Jabava. Signed up for the Kasparov Masterclasses. I don't know, man, but I'm going to sign up for their marketing campaign. He just instantly makes his moves. I get nervous when I play new accounts, you know, who like have almost no rating. Could be getting trolled by a computer, but you never know for sure till you actually tried. He may be a legitimate player. Obviously, you know, a computer wouldn't play such an opening. The human would have to play those moves. He's just making instant moves. He doesn't even think. Kind of weird for this time control. Alright, let's get our pieces developed. Wild player. Maybe it's Jabava. I don't know. Decision time for the bishop. Looks like c6 is awkward. If I take, he gets some play on the white squares. Feels like I have to play bishop g6. I think this is compulsory. He's only used 30 seconds for the game now. Crazy stuff. Queen d2 now. Alright. We're going to stay as solid as I can. I'm just pretending I'm like Dmitry Yakovenko playing against Jabava or something. What would you do? Just try to minimize the insanity and exploit their craziness slowly. F6 is double-edged. Maybe sack the pawn back here. The other option to play f6, it's kind of weakening. You know, I decided we'll just sack a pawn back. And maybe castle queenside. Another very sharp game, probably. I'm sure that a computer in my position would have played something maybe more safe. I don't know. He grabs the material. But I want to mobilize, maybe play queen e7. And force him to weaken his position further. Black should be at least equal here, in my opinion. It's kind of a sharp game now, with possibly opposite side castling. And he's got so much more time than me. Bishop c3. That's an odd move, I think. Happy to see it. Because I have knight to d5. White's still okay though. He's only used 2 minutes. I don't like his decision to give up the dark square bishop. Maybe he had oh, maybe I had something. I thought he could play bishop e5. He can't though because of take queen h4 check. So he was afraid of that. I get this dark square bishop, which is a very dangerous piece, honestly. a5. I could play c5, which is really sharp. But where's my king going to go? Ultimately. But I feel like with this dark squared bishop, we should be at least equal. Crazy player. Strange name too. Is it like, is it a real name or is it just something made up? IKEA. Spent the last hour putting together my new couch. I know, isn't that a great feeling? Champion of IKEA. Alright, he's going for my bishop there. It's not an issue. But he's still like crazy with the king in the center. No king safety. Dark squares. I'm looking for c5 at some point. That could just blow him away in the right moment. That's why king b8, I mean, might be a very important move. We're fully mobilized. I don't think that white can afford to castle queenside here. Even kingside looks dangerous. Do I have mates sacrificing my queen? Queen takes h4. Is even on the agenda, possibly? Can you imagine that? Taking my guy there. Now, big question, taking back which way? Rook takes feels somehow more dynamic to keep the rook's line open, but you know, what's going on there? Yeah, I like rook takes. He stopped c5. I still have e5. Looks like he's defending. What's he gonna do? Castle queenside here? Seriously? Oh man, what do I do next? Rook g8, e5. This just feels like the right idea to open the position. Another tactical motif. Just purely tactical ideas. Pawn takes pawn. He goes into an ending. which I don't really want. Sack my bishop on b4 without really enough compensation. That's a good one. What a crazy game. Just e4. Totally unclear now. He's got the better structure. I could have taken on d4, but I don't really want to draw. If he trades queens, it gets kind of drawish. So I think he's played pretty strange game. This is also a bit of a weird move. It's like a tactic. Bishop takes f7. Everything is like one move tactics around here. Alright, man, take the pawn. He just instantly moved. That is disturbing. He did not want the pawn. Who is this guy? Why does he play so weird? And how is he so fast? Amazingly weird player. With impressive rating, 2464. I mean, that's really solid. That's like FIDE Master. FIDE Master or Strong National Master, probably about that. You get guys who are candidate masters who are 24, like King Crusher. Wow, this is interesting how he's playing positionally now. f4 sacking a pawn. h5. I think h5 is probably bad. Very subtle play, like positionally against my pawn structure. He's got this crazy opening, then he starts playing like a solid positional player. Very odd. Castle's queenside. Okay, a5, obviously. No, we try to attack, but he'll be able to deaden the attack. Maybe I have a piece sacrifice somewhere down the line. I mean, I don't know. Try to go to the A file. We try to go to the A file with rook A8. Possible bishop sacrifices on B4. Guy's very positional, isn't he? Now f4, pawn takes pawn, rook g2. Maybe we sack a pawn here for tactical chances. Yeah. He just sacked the exchange instantly on me with this move. That's pretty weird. Without any thought, dude. Okay, king b6. I can't believe he made that move instantly. That is so crazy. I feel like white is probably slightly better here. Oh. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play any rated games against this guy. He's seriously scaring me. Insane, ridiculous, maniac opening. Then he goes like positional style. And now he's got like nasty little tricks. C5, I can answer C5 with defending. Rook F1. Want to trade down. He's so fast too. Morley Suma. Sounds kind of Finnish, like the second name. I don't know what to think. It's an African candidate master who likes chess but hates draws. That's possible. It could be. It could be a really wild human player. Hates draws. Why can't I play rook a8 here? Check c5. I don't know, man. This guy seems awful strong. Insane opening with the total change in style mid game. He played this opening and then he's a positional player after that. I mean, that's pretty weird, dude. It's my job to be suspicious of anyone who's got a new account with like less than 50 games played. King c7 here. I don't have a better suggestion. I'm just kind of terrified at this point. Maybe I could have played queen f7 there. But I don't know where I'm going, honestly. Okay. He's also unbelievably fast. So I wouldn't play any rated games with this guy. I mean, it looks like a hybrid to me. It could be like a computer and a person playing. I don't know. Maybe he's legitimate. It's just impossible to say. But he's very, very strong. Very, very dangerous. Extremely fast. I don't know, man. I mean, he's probably going to go up. If he's 24-64 now, he's going to be like 25-64. I'm just hanging on for a draw here at best at this point. I'm lucky I didn't lose. If I can draw, I'll probably be happy. And his speed is just outrageous. African candidate master, 9 games, bullet 2294. What? I mean, now it's probably a draw. Yeah, this guy is really strong. I mean, he could be a computer, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it's extremely fast and extremely strong. I mean, I don't know. Stop Miran Bra, Soltigo, Miaozi, who's also a very strong player, drew me the only game we played. NH9. It's, guys, we got time for like 2 more games right now. So, I don't think we have any subscribers challenging. I feel lucky to have survived that game, but that player is I think the scariest thing is his speed. Not just that he played like totally off the wall crazy. Like he was fast. He calculated extremely good tactics, like using very little time. I mean, I was lucky like not to lose. I was very close to losing. Stop Mir and Bra. Why are you playing A4 against me? Like we have just like a little time for 2 games. This is really like silliness. I feel like just aborting this game and playing somebody else. We can play Soltigo A+3. I don't want to play like just absurd openings. If you guys want to play, let's play like a serious game. We've got time for just 2 more games left. Danielos, you just played A4 against me, dude. Why would you play that? I mean, it's like you're trolling me or something. I mean, I'm sorry. I guess if you challenge me again, dude, I'll accept it. I didn't know you were like a serious player here. I didn't know, you know, somebody who was really caring about the game. If you want to play, I'll accept your challenge. I thought you were just somebody random messing with me. So if you really seriously want to play A4, repeat your challenge, and we'll play that for the last game. I just think it's like, I thought it was somebody just trying to troll me with like an absurd opening. All right, dude. I'll let you play. I mean, since you're watching the stream and you're somebody who I recognize, it's okay. We can go ahead and play. But I thought it was just some random thing. Okay, so D4 is the plan here. Black can play D5, E5. E5 is the main line, and E5 is pretty reliable for black. You can also play. I play G6, D4, C takes, E takes D5. Well, we have just 2 games left. I thought like we'd have some good games. A4 is a pretty ridiculous move, but if you're serious about it and you really say, you know, you studied it and you have real ideas, you know, I'm willing to play weird stuff. I play like knight H6. I played knight H3 on move 1 in tournament games. You know, rook pawn moves I don't have as much respect for, but no, Danielos, I recognize you from the chat. So the last guy was, I like how the guy was trolling me that I was getting demolished. I mean, it's like an extremely complicated position where I have no idea if I'm winning, losing, or drawing, and some dude's trolling that I'm getting demolished. You don't even know how to evaluate the position, man. I mean, it's completely unclear. E4 is yeah, E4 is not the main line. You're supposed to take first, C takes D, and then play E4. You know, so this is a little bit more unusual, but it's probably not bad for black. I guess this is like an older line. I can play a couple of moves, knight E5 or D5. And probably even knight to D2. Actually, I can probably play a lot of moves. Even knight G5 might be playable. I don't know what's best here. I honestly don't know. Knight C6, D6, knight takes, knight to E5. That will transpose to some kind of... This might transpose to some kind of main line. Knight E5, C takes D, E takes D. Anyway, probably Danielos will be the last game. Stop Mir and Bra for today. Ellipse says, you're watching me for the stream, watching the stream for the first time. Well, we've got all kinds of people here. Crazy people, trolls, good people, serious chess players, amateurs. Queen C7 is a new move. It actually doesn't look bad. What's wrong with Queen C7? I think that's probably a theoretical novelty. Maybe I have knight B5 here, and could that be a good move for me? Knight b5, queen b8. What did I achieve? That's the real question. Knight b5 doesn't do anything. Queen b8, and I don't have anything to show. Maybe f4? f4 is really funky. Feels wrong to play f4. Takes away my ability to fight against e4. What would Aronian do? Something crazy like knight b5, queen b8, bishop d2. Not quite right here. Can you make a Karo Khan and Kopek opening video for your YouTube site? Karo Khan and Kopek opening. Alright, these are two totally different requests. The Kopek, I don't know if I can do a Kopek Kopek review. I hate the Kopek system. It's sort of goes against my principles. I might even do a system. I might do a video like how to beat the Kopek system if it would make you happy. I honestly, I can't respect the Kopek. How about knight g4? That's a weird move. Kind of makes some sort of sense. This makes sense in a really weird way. It's probably not a great move though. I'm not sure though. This is interesting. This is actually really cool. Let's just play some chess and play some creative games. That's what I'm trying to do. The last guy, who you guys say was from Africa, candidate master apparently, he played an absolutely alien type of chess. He was super fast. He could have beat me if I made one mistake. I was terrified. Uh-oh. Alright, this is going to amount to a pawn sacrifice. Knight d5. Queen a5 check. Bishop d2. Is this a justifiable pawn sacrifice? I don't care. If I play queen takes g4, he has d5. Knight takes d5. Queen a5 check, winning. So queen takes g4, d5. Queen d1 is the sane way to play this, I guess. But I feel like black has a good game there. So if I play knight d5 and he plays queen a5 check and I play bishop d2 and he plays something like knight takes f2, I have all sorts of interesting moves I could play. Let's do this. I mean, maybe it's not objectively sound, but it's going to be fun anyway. I try to usually play like absolutely like what I believe are the most correct moves. But in this position, we're getting near the end of the stream. Things are getting really weird like the last game. So let's just go crazy, you know. Mule Skinner, you say, wonder if a lifetime e4 player would benefit from starting to play d4. Anyone in mind, Mule Skinner? Yeah, man, there's no question about it. I mean, the more types of openings you play, the more you just find new ideas and open yourself up to learning like new types of positions. I mean, there's nothing more limiting than playing like the London system your whole life. I mean, not to diss the London system, but just for example, I mean, to play one opening your whole career or life, it's extremely limiting. Why, you know, some people like that, the security of really knowing one thing, but I can't just continuously my whole life play the same opening. Can you make a video? Yeah, we talked about that. Ellipse, thank you for thinking I'm a nice person. We all make mistakes. What else? We've got Queen b8 on the board. I'm so happy to see that Soltigo. It's so good to see that. I mean, it looked like for sure he had to play Queen a5 check here. Okay, Queen d8 is a move, but it's kind of passive. Queen a5 check, Bishop d2, and then he can choose between knight takes e3. Does that make sense? Maybe I didn't calculate this far enough. Okay, knight takes e3, bishop takes a5, knight takes d1, rook takes d1, knight c7 check. Take his rook. Maybe we need to look at that a little bit further. So he decided to bail on it. But I think if you're going to bail here on the complications, you should consider the other queen moves that are more active, like queen d6 and queen a5 and queen d8. Okay, queen b8, it's not that bad, but what you gonna do when they come for you? So the whole point of the whole thing was that he can't play d5 because my knight is on the square. You know, I mean, that is just like, if he could play d5, he's golden. He can't play d5 because there's a piece physically on the d5 square, and I'm threatening to take on e4 with check. So things look pretty okay for white at this point. I think the black's pieces are kind of messed up. And if you want to know the truth, I lost this way that Soltigo is playing with white in a team tournament game in like 1987, 1988. I remember I was probably like 1800 and lost to an expert with my queen on b1 in basically the same type of line. It's just a little out of play, the queen on b8. Guys, thank you for joining here today. We got quite a few viewers. We'll be back on, what is today? Wednesday. We'll be back on Friday with more Blitz and Classical Chess. I promised one more game at least for today. And Sunday I do a simul on lichess at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We had some interesting games today, though. It was fun. So the last one where I almost lost was scary. Queen takes e4 check. Don't forget your queen is hanging. And yeah, I don't know what to recommend here for black. I mean, bishop e7 doesn't look all that great, so this looks sort of forced. But we have nasty problems to offer up to our opponent here with knight f4. He doesn't seem to have any response. Knight f4 looks nearly killing. Actually, maybe winning by force. What is he going to do? I mean, d5 wins by force. And, you know, I guess there is like literally no way to avoid it. It's so sick. g5, anybody? Bishop e7, d5. There just doesn't seem to be a move for black here. Knight e7 was suggested. Yeah, probably better. But I just don't like queen b8. You know, the queen is immobile there. On this diagonal, it was more mobile. So he went knight b4. Okay, but it's covered. So we can just win a piece with d5, and there's no answer. No answer, Adot. Answer Adot. Guys, one more game, and then we're gonna shut it down for today. I like there's a guy watching chess.com sucks. Nice handle, man. Alright. d5. Winning a piece, Soltigo. One more game. Danielos, otherwise known as Stop Miran Bra, is up, and he's gonna play. Look, Danielos, we're gonna probably have to abort this game because you're gonna get the different color. Do you mind? Before I start this challenge, I actually dissed his last challenge because he played a4 against me, and I didn't know he was a regular viewer. But we might get different colors, and I don't know if you're opposed to that. Oh no, he got white again. Cool. So he can play what he wants. I just thought he was a troll, you know, like playing a4. I don't mind if it's like someone who's serious about it. But I thought he's just a random troll messing with me. a4 is the kind of move, like if I was completely on tilt and I hated my opponent, you know, I'd probably play that to, like, you know, just diss them, you know. So I looked at it like that, but don't have to change your opening, man. I mean, I was accepting of a4. Took me a little while to kind of own up to the acceptance. I went to the acceptance stage that my opponent was playing a4. Rated game alert. Move 11, thanks for watching, man. We played once before. I don't remember that game. It's a rated game alert. We'll play our best stuff. What is the time control? A+3. Yeah, I wanted to see A4 now. Maybe the A4 was an unrated game, and this is a rated game. The bishop C4. I think of this, although it's fine, and it's particularly good against D6. Leonid Yudasin and Michael Adams being two very strong players who play the system for white. I think of it as more of like a defensive system. You're basically playing a form of the closed Sicilian, unless you decide to transpose to... you can transpose to the open Sicilian with D4 if you wish. But if you don't decide to play D4, you're going to be playing basically a closed Sicilian. Okay, now move order here, a bit unusual. And I think that bishop G4 should be good for me. Forcing some sort of like position that I've actually been in once before. I've been here before and I don't know if I like this place. I had this hallucination once before. I did this H3, bishop takes F3, queen takes F3, knight E5, bishop B5 check, and I was like, oh duh, like I'm not getting his bishop. So he played D3. That's lucky because it gives me time to play A6 and stop that nonsense. Although maybe just knight D4 is better. This isn't like winning for black or something because I double his F-pawns. Gotta watch for queen sacrifices. Shouldn't be anything here. E5 is really cool. Knight D4, E5. Bishop takes F3. That's not good for black, for white. Alright. This is costing me a little bit of time. This is definitely costing some time, but I bust up his king side, and I'm not committed to castling, so if he has any kind of Joseph Henry Blackburn intentions on the king side, we're gonna like maybe not castle king side, you know, or just delay castling and deal with it in some other way. Okay, so we've got to be careful about that bishop check again on B5. I don't know if I like this all that much. What do we think about this situation? Knight takes F3, pawn takes F3. It's a little bit scary. Like he's way ahead in development. E6 perhaps. Bishop takes F3. I don't know what to do here. I really don't know what to do. Takes one to know one. That's what I would say. Usually holds true. Bishop E3, E6. Knight takes F3, pawn takes F3, and there's a bishop B5 check, which really slows me down. Alright, man, we can do it. It's playable. Either way, I just want to play bishop H5 to freeze him. To keep his F-pawn frozen, to keep him tied down. Defend F7 is another good point. But this position is kind of unclear. I really don't know what's going on here. Megash has beaten me before. I don't know, have you? Not a memorable experience for me. Looks like I'm in trouble here. Got to be very careful not to be worse. I'm definitely behind in development. This is a huge square. b5. We may have to play e5. I think it's more than likely. Now this move f4 is pretty maniacal. That wasn't my biggest fear, because at least that gives me, you know, bishop takes d1. So rook takes d1 ideas won't be crushing anymore. I mean, rook to d1 ideas won't be crushing anymore. It feels like some kind of demented Smith-Morra, honestly. We tend to forget our painful losses. But this is looking like I'm getting to safety, hopefully. Now f5, a very uncompromising move. And we have to decide whether to take or play e5 here. It looks objectively maybe taking would like mess up his structure a bit more. So I think I'm going to go with that. We both have weaknesses now. I mean, it's a two-way street. This is weak, this is weak. And the other variations, maybe I'm just like in a lot of danger. We may have to play g6 at some point. That's something to keep in mind. But I can deal with that. Yeah, dude, that's nice. The checkmate in 9 moves hurts. Yeah, that was too easy. Let's get some counterplay. Trying to get some counterplay here. I mean, I could sack a pawn back with like d5 for sure at some point. Knight d7 is another interesting idea. Just giving away the d5 square altogether. b5. I don't know what I'm achieving there. I mean, d5 sacking a pawn back. I'd rather not give away material without absolutely needing to. This guy seems pretty good. Quite an unorthodox style of play again. Allowing the early bishop takes f3 or knight takes f3. Pawn sacrifice again, an idea. Queen d7 here. Is this a good move even? I don't like it. Looks artificial. How about rook c5? Rook c5 attacking that pawn. Doesn't work, does it? Can I sack the exchange? My bishop on h5 is the problem here. Queen a5 maybe. Yeah, I think this is better. I was seriously thinking about putting my rook on c5, but queen f4 after that just creates too many problems. Now g6. What am I supposed to do to get rid of that pawn on f5 otherwise? That pawn needs to go. Now the question is which way to recapture, bishop or pawn? Pawn takes. A little more solid with the structure. Yeah, I don't really know about bishop takes. Bishop takes is possible too. This is a rated game. I don't have a good track record with rated games on my stream here. Wouldn't be surprised if I got upset by somebody. 1700. Can happen. I ask people not to challenge me to rated games. That's not my thing. I mean, I'm at a handicap. Alright. I try to take my time describing the game, talking about what to do, you know, so. Anyway, having hallucinations, I think, at this point. I'm starting to have some hallucinations. How about, like, bishop d8? That's not good. Knight e2, nice move. He offers a draw. Wow, that's... Offers a draw and unoffers it. It's typical. Typical thing to do. Let's try d5. We've played once before. I don't know anything about that game. White has played pretty well here. I think that the position is close. Kind of difficult to evaluate who's better at this point. I'm a little concerned about the time. I mean, I have 2 minutes to his 5. He's actually much faster than me. Surprising for someone, you know. It's only 1800 in blitz, but I am pretty slow, admittedly. And I do try to spend a lot of time talking about the game. We'll have to pick up the pace here a little bit. He didn't offer a draw, he offered a take back, really? I did not realize that. Okay. Well, I better trade pieces. I'm scared, man. Seriously a little bit scared here. Or should I put my king on like h7 or something? Terrified. I'm getting mated if I let that happen. Okay. Let's try queen c5, trading queens. He's tied down to this pawn a bit. Trading queens, white's got slightly better ending. 3 minutes more than me on the clock. No, he doesn't want to trade queens. He played this move, which is a really nasty move. Queen g5, nearly winning by force. No counterplay for me. Alright, we have to defend. So I guess it's going to have to be like rook c6. Defending my knight, which I can't afford to move. Looks like white's like winning. Just crushing me here. I wouldn't offer a draw if I were white. Looks like white has a sizable advantage now. But I'm not really sure if he's winning or not. I mean, he's better, but I don't know that he's winning. It's a 3-minute-to-1 time advantage. Slightly better attacking chances for white in this position. Barely hanging on. Rook takes d5 with the wild tactic. Okay. Guess I have to take. Don't really see another option there. Okay, he sacked in exchange or something. He's got intermezzos. Very complicated. Knight takes h5. Bishop takes d5 also. You know, he wants me to play like rook d6 or something. Now my bishop is hanging. Knight takes f5 is threatened. just dropped it. He's got bishop takes f7 check. And this looks like it's good for white. This position. Blunder. Yeah, now I gotta just lose material. Just blundered a whole rook there. I don't see any reason to continue this game. I'll just resign. Let's take a look at the analysis board. Was he just winning anyway? Yeah, rook takes d5 is the engine move. This is crushing. There's no defense, actually. It doesn't matter that I hung a rook here. I'm just lost. This is just there's no defense in this position. Pretty amazing stuff. Let's check out the evaluation to this game by white. Bishop e3 is engine move or not? Yeah, this is #1 move. G takes f3. Now what? d4. Maybe d4 is a small mistake. A6. f4, that's also #1 move by the engine. Let's see. f3, that's also #1 move by the engine. Bishop e7. f5, that's also #1 move by the engine. E takes f5, E takes f5. Castles, also #1 move by the engine. Let's see if I can defend this. Now queen d3, he didn't. This was actually not the engine's favorite move. It's the second favorite move in this position. So this was like a perfect game by white, literally. Virtually perfect game. Knight e2 though, not the best move. Knight d5, king h1. Looks like 8 cent pawn lost by white. 0 inaccuracies, 0 mistakes, 0 blunders. Yeah, I don't think so, dude. I really don't think so. Not really. You know, I mean, maybe you just had the game of your life, but probably not. Anyway, congratulations to that, dude. We'll see you guys later. I'll be back on Friday with more Blitz and Classical Chess here on lichess, and we've got a simul on Sunday. This is at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So I want to thank everybody for joining me, guys. We'll be back again on Friday at 4 p.m. More Blitz and Classical Chess. Please check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Also, we thank the guys who have subscribed to the channel, and also you guys who've donated via PayPal to support the stream. That's awesome. I'd like to thank our moderator, Plu Crow, for being here today. Saronche not here, but this was a really tough game. I don't think I played that badly. Now, fortunately, blundering the rook at the end didn't matter because I was lost anyway. So, suspicious game by white. You know, maybe he just played the game of his life, but I kind of doubt it. We'll see you guys on Friday. Bye-bye.